Good day, fellow alchemists. How are you all doing? I hope you're having an outstanding day. I am still energetic and excited about the presentation I sat through yesterday. During my coaching call with Luke Wren, we had a very distinguished guest, Kyle Hermans. If you haven't heard about this gentleman yet, you got to check him out. There's no way I can put into words the amount of action this guy takes and what he's put into this universe so far. Just absolutely stud of a dude. Great heart, great energy, great spirit, and a brilliant mind. So I can't do enough good words and good deeds. So go check him out yourself. You're going to love everything you find from the guy. Guy's name's Kyle Hermans. We got up on the top of the screen here for you. These are my notes from the about 2 hours that he gifted us yesterday. And I want to share them with you so that, things that I learn help you, and maybe you can help some other people, and that's a lot of help going on, right? So that's what we're all about here. So let's get into it. Let's check out these notes and see what pearls and gems came out of this. The first thing that he dropped on us, first thing right in the call, was if you were not doing what you were doing right now in life, what would you do? Right? So like right now you have a job, you have a role, you have a professional role that you play or a familial role that you play. If you were not doing that at this point in your life and you could secretly do anything else, what would it be that you would be doing? Right? Would you be playing guitar, playing drums and being a rock star? Would you be a painter, a dancer, a poet? Right? Like where in the core of your center of your soul and your essence, what person lives in there? Who is that person? How do they want to show up in the world? Are you allowing them to show up? And what should you be doing to help allow them to show up, right? So great question. Really super thought productive. I like that. Something I'm going to be going over a lot. I do that one a lot as it is, but definitely a good one to keep in the fresh part of your mind, right? Second, this is a cool one. I've never heard this one before. This one he came up with on his own. Courage is in the dictionary as a noun, but in life, it's a verb. Right, we take it as a noun, like it's a thing, right? It's a person, place, thing, right? Like it's something you could take off a shelf. Hey, let me go get some courage right now. Put your courage helmet on. Now I'm courageous, right? Like, but it's not like that. Courage is something that you do, that you become. It's an active process, right? So a lot of his conversation with us is about having courage, right? Being courageous enough to be your authentic self, being courageous enough to do things that might seem abnormal or different or a little askew from the Joneses that we're trying to keep up with, right? Like I say all the time, everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses, but the Joneses are broke and miserable. And that's not what you should be keeping up in life, right? We want to be standing out. We want to be outstanding. We want to be doing things that are ahead of the line, right? So third thing he went through was lead with authenticity. It doesn't get any realer than this. This is the bread and butter of my life, and my identity is trying to have integrity and authenticity in everything that I do through all areas of my life, being sound, full, 100% who I am on the inside and the outside, regardless of who is around and what we are doing. And sometimes it's challenging. Things might be going on in the world around you that you do not agree with, but do you not step up and say something because it's your belief, right? Or you just want to fit in more. What's the reasons why you aren't portraying yourself or aren't taking those actions to be the person that you could be? To show up in the world the way that you want to show up, that you are on the inside. And unfortunately, that gives dissonance to us, right? Our identity is built off of three major factors, right? Three key factors: our beliefs, our values, and our actions, right? When one or more of those factors aren't pointing to the same goal, guess what happens? We have negative emotions, right? Typically grief, sorrow, regret, right? Things like that, right? If I believe I should be acting one way, but I act a certain way, what am I going to get? I'm going to get guilt, right? Ooh, I probably shouldn't have done that. So to lead with authenticity, to be who you are, to be the person that steps in the front of the line and represent themselves truly and fully to who they are, to their potential, that's a winner right there, right? So I thought that was right on point. I love that he said that, and I got super, super smiley. He went into 6 areas to seek mastery, and this part was it was a little long, but it was full of deep knowledge. And I really just got so absorbed into it. I wrote the categories down and not so much the examples. So we'll shoot through these and we'll see what comes up, right? 6 areas to seek mastery. Mastering shifts in mental models. Like, is the frame of reference that you're looking at the world the only frame of reference? Perhaps maybe you're in an obsolete state, right? There's a lot of things in society right now that were built for institutions and systems and means and ways that do not exist any longer, right? I had this experience a couple of years ago. I was going through customs, and it was at JFK Airport, right? International flight. We came back in. We had to go through immigration and customs and all that. And like they just added a whole new process on. So like you had to stand online to get a ticket, to go stand online to get a ticket, to go stand online to get your ticket checked, to get another ticket, to go stand online to get a ticket, to go get a picture, go get a ticket. And like they just kept adding more and more series on. I was like, this is like the same redundant process. There's got to be a more efficient way of doing so. I just heard a podcast the other day, and I can't remember the words. The third time I've tried to thought of it today. It's going to come to me by the end of the day, of when you keep building a system and adding onto it and things become more and more inefficient because of it. That process, right? Like how many things do we have in our minds that are beliefs in this pattern that aren't necessarily true? It's about nutrition. It's about exercise. It's about business setup, finances, what a relationship is, right? There are so many areas in the world right now where we've built our understanding, how we reflect on things and how they are represented to us, how they are represented in our own mind, how our imagination pictures them in our brains, based off of things that are obsolete institutions, right? And the world is just not in that place. We have an exponential growth curve. Everything's changing so quickly, but we're still basing our foundational thought process and the first steps, or maybe multiple steps in a system, based on a process that is no longer efficient, up to date, or is obsolete, right? So sometimes we got to shift our mental model of the world and look at where we are, where things are around us, and make some paradigm shifts, make some alterations in our beliefs, our strategies, or our actions, right? So super cool. Mastering our purpose, right? Like if you don't know what your purpose is in life, like you are at a loss. And they say, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, someone knows what they want to do with it, right? So that's a huge lesson in that one. You know, knowing what your process, what your purpose is super important, because every road goes to nowhere if you don't know where you're trying to go, right? Knowing where you are, where you want to be, and bridging the gap between, that's what makes achievers achievers. That's what makes us successful in the actions that we take. So got to master knowing what your purpose is and moving towards it, being efficient in that process of trying to get to that purpose. Mastering risk, number 3. Like this is a really, really cool one. I originally got this concept from a coach a long time ago. Is the number one way to minimize your risk in anything that you do is to get information and education. Right. So there are things that are risky. Driving is risky, right? You're in, 2,000 pounds of metal moving at anywhere between 0 or 1 mile an hour to sometimes 100 plus miles an hour, depending on where in the world you live and how heavy your foot is in that gas pedal. Right. And we trust that on that road, there's this little yellow line that's all about that thick, right? Super, super, super tiny. That's going to keep people from crashing into us. Right. We have a belief pattern that, hey, that yellow line's going to keep people faith that they're going to stay in their lane, right? But there's risk involved, but we do it every day, right? Planning a trip with my gym right now is a group team building effort and a adventure kind of process for us, for all of us to go skydiving, right? And a lot of people that are apprehensive, oh my goodness, like I can't do it. It's too scary. It's too risky. Like, is it more risky than driving? Is it more risky than eating? You could choke. Do you go swimming, right? Do you ever go swimming while you were tired? Maybe, like, there's a lot of things that you can add into that, right? It's risky to go to sleep. You could fall out and hit your head in the night, right? Like, who knows who's going to break in your house? Like, there's crazy risk everywhere. But we mitigate risk by knowing the information involved, by knowing the processes, knowing what can happen, contingencies for those, being educated. The more information you have in an area, the more it's going to minimize your risk and allow you to be more adventurous in those areas. Mastering fear, right? So we got a couple different types of fear here. Great thing he said, what if you changed or exchanged fear into learning? So like rather than being fearful, it's like, oh, I'm afraid to this. Like, hey, I'm going to learn about this, right? Looking at fear, looking at failure also, and saying this is an opportunity to learn, right? I like to say that the path towards success is paved in failures, right? They're stepping stones. Failure is a stepping stone on the way to success. You're going to hit failure, and you got to step past to keep moving forward. Step past to keep moving forward. Keep failing forward rather than being stagnant and staying in one position and being fearful of not moving. I was speaking to a patient this morning. A great conversation came up. We were talking about fear, right? And how in Chinese medicine, there are positive and negative emotions reflected by all the organs. And we very often talk about fear and its relationship to the kidneys, its ability to stringe, pull in, and stop things from moving. And fear is a natural reaction. It's our body's safety mechanism to keep us safe and allow us to not move into dangerous situations, right? It allows us to be cautious. But very often we get stuck in that fight, flight, or freeze, mostly freeze. All those, however, none of them actually move you forward. If you're fighting, you can't progress, right? The road's clear in front of you. You can walk down that road, but there's a bear you got to fight in front of you. You're not going to be able to move down that road nearly as quickly, right? So fight, and freeze all leave you stuck in the same spot or regress you back, right, if you're fleeing, right? So we want to advance. We want to be productive. We want to be able to reach our human potential in life, right? To expand our limits, to know who we are and build ourselves bigger and better every day, right? So fear is the first step in that, right? We're all going to have fear. It's a natural survival mechanism. If you didn't have fear, you would do dumb shit that would get you killed. And that's against human nature, right? It's against our instinct to do things that get us killed, right? So a lot of times I talk to my patients about fear and even pain, the natural processes of the body, and say, hey, listen, what if you came to that with love? What if you said, hey, you know what? Like, fear, dude, thank you so much. You are awesome. I didn't realize that this and this and this were important to me. You brought it to the forefront of my mind. You let me experience it to understand that there's risk involved, that this could damage me, hurt me, send me backwards, kill me, bother my family, interrupt my life and the lifestyle of the people around me. I didn't realize that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, because of that, I can be prepared. I can progress with caution, right? And being able to change fear into caution, right? Turn it from that negative, that constrainment, that astringing of the kidneys, to be able to go, hey, I can move forward with this and understand that there is risk involved and I can be prepared for it. And in being prepared for it, it will allow me to adapt, achieve it, overcome, and progress forward, right? So super cool on that. Where are we? Loss, fear, fear of loss, right? All fears based in my mind come from loss, less, and never. You're going to lose something, have less of something, or never be able to experience something, right? So key thing in that, like, are you fearful of loss? Hey, like, how can you learn to mitigate your loss, to lessen your losses, right? The fear of the outcome. For me, we had a moment, kind of did a little intervention with me during the call, which was fantastic. Thank you, Kyle. Rock, bro. Talking about the outcome, right? And fear for me of actually being successful, a fear of the outcome. Like, oh my goodness, like if people catch on to me as the modern day monk, how am I going to be able to represent myself everywhere I go, every single day, every single moment as being in this character portrayal? But it's not a character portrayal. It's me, who I am on the inside. But I have some kind of fear and obstruction to being like, ooh, I got to be that guy all the time. What if I have a bad day? What if I have a moment where I'm off? What if I have a moment where I snap, I lose my cool, and I'm like, dude, F you pissed me off, and I vent, right? And everyone's like, well, he's the modern day monk. He's supposed to keep himself cool and collected and mind his body, mind, and breath at all times, right? Like, we're humans, we slip. We have these moments to learn and know that we are still progressing towards that apical point where we want to be, right? So for me, I had a moment where I had to come to terms with the fear of the outcome. Sometimes people have fear of the process. Oh my God, it's going to take so much effort, so many steps, so much work to get to that point. I don't even know if I want to start it, right? Like, oh, good grief. I deal with this, a lot of people in the gym with their health in my medical practice. A lot of people in my coaching clients like, oh, I got this mountain of things to do. A very simple thing to cure that. What is the next right thing you can do? That's it. It's micro chunk it, right? What is the next right thing you can do that's going to move you towards that goal, right? We have two paths in life, towards goals and away goals, right? We can either move away from things that move us toward, we do things that move us away from our goal or our desired outcome, or we can choose to move towards our desired outcome, right? So the question is, are the things in your process so big, so monumental, where you've gone 1, 2, 3, many, that it's overwhelming and you don't even want to go near it? When that's the case, what is the next one thing you can do that's right? What's the next right thing that you can do? Simple, right? Fear of rejection, right? That's a big one for me too, man. Like I had my roots as a little childhood actor, being told over and over again, no, that wasn't good enough. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Try harder, try more. It's made me damn productive. It's made me resilient. It's made me want to seek perfection and make sure I can always do things better. It's been a blessing in disguise. But it's also come with a highly sophisticated fear of rejection, right? Where things happen, I always take them personally. I'm like, oh man, what could I have done to make that situation better, make that person feel better, happier, so on and so forth, right? Rejection is part of life. And sometimes you got to realize, like, this was my motto for this a couple of years ago. Some people like Pizza Hut. Me personally, like, I like the nice Italian restaurant that makes homemade fresh pizza down the road. Some people love Pizza Hut. Other people like Domino's. Ooh, right? Like, and there's enough millions of people that these are multi-million, billion-dollar businesses with, stocks that you can buy, right? Like, it's kind of crazy. But for me, like, I like that pizza place down the road. You might like the one near you. We all have different tastes, and to realize that sometimes, like, my flavor may not just be everybody's flavor. And that's cool because not everybody's my flavor. So just come to terms with that, right? ruin, right? Like things getting ruined. Like this could be the end of things. And truth be told, like anytime I put myself in the worst situations possible, and I thought like, could this get worse? I'm always like, it could get worse, but will it? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Oh my God, I'm going to lose my house and be homeless. Great. I have enough friends, right? I saw a Japanese investor one time talking about how, I think he actually spent like 2 years doing this. It's kind of funny. He made a list of 52 friends and he's like, oh, listen, I'm on hard times. Can I come stay with you for 1 week? And all his friends were great friends. They loved him. He was a great guy. Yeah, please, just one. You need a week? You can stay longer. No, just 1 week. And he went through 52 friends, stayed at their houses for a week, for 2 years, didn't own a home, saved up money, got financed underneath, and made his progress that he needed to. But by the time he went through the list once, he came back to everybody. It's been a year since I've seen you. Can I come stay with you for a weekend? Absolutely, come hang out. And they love the process, right? So, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Most things in life aren't going to kill you. We may think they're going to. It may feel like it is because we blow them so out of proportion. But in reality, they're not going to kill you. Worst that happens, you go stay on your friend's couch for a little while. Like, people have been through worse. You may have been through worse. Think things in perspective, right? Regret, right? Regret's a big one. You speak to the older communities, right? The senior citizens and above, centurions, and like the biggest thing across the board with all of them is regret, like not having taken the actions that they wanted to or should have or could have at certain times in their life, and those opportunities passing them by. So super big one there, right? To deal with regret, one of my key strategies is my rocking chair test. I try to imagine like I'm sitting on my rocking chair. I'm 120 years old. I'm on my front porch of my house, rocking back and forth, having a good old time. Grim Reaper starts walking up the front steps, and he's like, got a scythe over his head, coming to take you. And I said, all right, dude, cool. Like, did I do everything in my life that I wanted to do? Right? I think back like, oh, cool. Like if I wanted to do this right now, right? I want to go skydiving. Let's say, go back to that example. If I want to go skydiving right now and have the opportunity, when I'm 120 years old and it's my last moments, am I going to look back and be like, oh, good Lord, I am so mad I didn't do that. I wish I would have done it. In which case I probably should do it. Flip side also happens too. Oh, right now, like I'm sitting around watching Netflix, all right? I'm just doing the Netflix thing. At 120 years old, is that how I want to go by spending my life? Do I want it to be like, oh, yeah, I'm glad I spent 15 years of my life watching reruns of Friends on Netflix? Maybe do, don't, right? If it is congruent for you and your identity, your beliefs, and your actions, go for it. If it's not, then fix that shit. Regret, then responsibility, right? Like a lot of times progressing, growth, developing comes with responsibilities. And we have fear of like, oh my God, I have to take care of this, right? Anybody who's had a child and in the months leading up to it, you're like, oh my goodness, I have to take care of this thing now. Like I'm gonna have so much more responsibility. And it forces people through that threshold to develop more resources, right? To be more resourceful with the resources they have, right? So key thing with that, like it's not about resource, it's always about resourcefulness. Look at the responsibilities that you have as your chance to grow, as your chance to achieve more, as your chance to develop. Super cool. Those were all in the fourth category of mastering fear. The fifth portion of mastery was mastering parts integration, taking all the different aspects of your life. With me, I use the wheel of life with my clients, and we sit and we talk about each different aspect of their life and how they integrate to each other. Right? More often than not, we find some that are really good, some that aren't so good, that need some work. And people try to delve in, let me just fix that one. And reality is when you go to fix that one pie chart, the rest of the pieces all start to go down, right? Where we got to find that thread of continuity, the actions, the beliefs, the values, and all the other different metrics that we use that go through all of the different pie charts that make the difference, right? Find that thread of continuity, a thread of truth that's going to allow all those parts to integrate. Because very often there's a linchpin where you can take one little dial, one little node, pull it out, push it in, change it, and it makes everything else drastically different. So rather than focusing on just one thing, being able to figure out how all the parts play in together and how there's congruency, continuity, and synergy between all those parts. Crucial. And mastering your inner rock star. Love this one. Now, my man's a drummer, right? So he went back, he watched himself on a video of drumming back in the day, playing a big concert, 2,500, 3,000 people in front of him, and realized that at some point he had lost his inner rock star to a degree, right? That he wasn't playing as full out, having as much fun, flipping the birds to the universe and being like, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to be who I am, how I want to show up, and just it is how it is, baby. Love me or leave me. That's your two choices. So I think that's super crucial, right? That goes right back to that lead with authenticity again, right? Like being who you are, knowing who you are, being a little stand outish, right? If you want to be outstanding, you need to stand out, which means you need to be doing things different than the rest of the flock, right? So don't be afraid to be that trendsetter. Don't be afraid to be the person that's a little bit different. Don't be afraid to take that first step when nobody else has. Because chances are there's probably a couple million people behind you waiting themselves, just waiting for the first person to start making that movement towards that goal. There's a great video on YouTube. I think they did a TED Talks about it as well, about the first person in a concert who starts dancing. And it's like a hippie show, guy's going all crazy by himself, and everyone's looking at him like, ooh. And then all of a sudden, out of the background, somebody else jumps in, right? And within like 3 to 5 minutes, there's like 200 people all dancing around this guy. But for the first 5 minutes, it was one guy all by himself, all alone, and then two weirdos dancing by themselves. But all of a sudden, it gained inertia because that one trendsetter allowed somebody else to express themselves. Once two people are expressing themselves, now there's a group. There's a group synergy. There's exponential growth in that process. More people come to it, and it's Parkinson's law, right? The more nodes there are in a network, the faster that network is going to go, right? So super cool one. I love that one. Check that out. Mastering Your Inner Rock Star. These are some great little quotes he came out with. The stuff we do and who we are two different things. Oh man, how many of us identify with the things that we do? Like, oh, I'm a fireman, or I'm a nurse, or oh man, I suck, I'm a piece of shit, or I'm awesome, right? The things we do are not who we are. There might be something that you're learning to do, and you might not be that good at it yet, right? That's okay. Don't say you suck, because you personally don't suck, right? For you to breathe, you have to exhale. That means you can't constantly be inhaling, which is sucking. You need to do a little bit of both. You have to suck, and you have to blow. Right? So think about both, right? Like you need to be able to get through those points and know that who you are is not dictated by how or what you do. Who you are is totally different. You are a beautiful, glowing, lovely spirit on the inside that has the magic of the universe stored within them. You don't know how to make bones. You don't know how to make kidneys. You don't know how to breathe. You don't know how to do all these different processes your body does, but yet you exist, right? You have the magical ability to take bread and water and grow a human. Like, that's some cool crap. And when you break, you know how to fix yourself without even thinking, right? Like, how cool is that, right? So you on the inside are an amazing, beautiful, beautiful, loving spirit. On the outside, we may have some lessons to learn, right? There might be some areas where we need to progress and develop. There might be some areas where we are just absolute rock stars in. But who you are is not how or what you do, right? Awesome, awesome lesson in that one. As you can see, guys, I am super stoked about this. Like, this got me so pumped up, and I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. Kyle Hermans yesterday. This is what this is all about. What else we got here? Shame. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be shame. Shame of the self is the view of what you think others may see, right? So if you're shaming yourself, that's not what you're actually feeling. That's not what you actually know, because if you had congruency with that, you would shame yourself and feel good about it, right? You'd be like, oh, yes, I deserve to be shamed for that. Like, I'm shitty, I suck, and that's how things are. But typically when we shame ourselves, it gives us a sense of guilt, right? And we said earlier, when we have beliefs that go one way and actions that go another way, guilt fills that area in the middle, right? That's the adverse reaction of that. So if we're having guilt for something, that means we can't be feeling good about it, right? So that means we're probably looking at what other people around us, we presume they are thinking about us. So I believe that you believe that I am this way, right? And that's a trick in that, because you don't know what the other person's thinking, right? They might pay attention. They may not pay attention. They may agree and be like, yeah, that was pretty shitty. Or they probably, like most people, are so busy dealing with their own crap that they don't really give a crap about yours what to begin with. And if you're complaining to them, they're probably just going, you think you got it better. Oh my God, what's going on inside of my head? Jesus Christ, this guy's complaining so much. I got to deal with him now, right? Like, the reality of the situation is most people have enough of their own shit to deal with that they don't need or care about yours, right? So when we think about shaming ourselves for the things that we've done, things that have happened to us, typically it's a representation of what we think other people might be thinking about us, which is not the truth, right? So the truth is, it doesn't exist that way. The truth is, come back to yourself and realize that you're magic, right? Like, you are magical generations of information stored on you. You don't know what your grandmother or grandfather's face looked like, or great-great-great-grandmother's grandfather's face looked like, but your nose is on their face, right? Like, and you made that. Like, that's cool. Discovery is greater than judgment, kind of along the same lines here, right? The ability to discover, the ability to have self-realization and understanding, like, oh, wow, epiphany moment is greater than judgment. I like to teach my clients and my staff about using curiosity and inquisitiveness, right? Rather than like, you did this. Like, why would you have done that? Right? A while ago, years ago in my medical practice, we had a period where like staff morale was going really down, really low. And I realized that they were referring to some of the clients that we were working with as like, oh, problem, he's a pain, trouble, like, she's just so annoying. Why are they coming in? Like, these people are coming to you for love, help, appreciation, connection, all these amazing, beautiful things opening up and being transparent and authentic. Like, to come from that place of like, ugh, they're here, like, that's not a good place. So I had to fix that real quick. And I said, guys, like, what if we looked at these people that were our problem clients and we said, what if they were unique curiosities? They're an individual. They're one of a kind. There is nobody else like that person. You know that to be true, right? And with that, why? Why do they do the things that they do? I don't understand. Do you understand? That's completely back-assward for me. But that's the way they do it. So come into things with a place of unique curiosity, with inquisitiveness. I wonder, chances are you've cut somebody off on the road driving down the highway, right? Merging and there's not enough room, like, cut them off. Maybe you were rushing. Maybe you had an emergency to get to, right? In that time, you were speeding. You didn't use your turn signals. You were cutting people in and out because you had an emergency. You had shit to take care of, right? Life was happening. You had to get there by that point. But when we're on a nice, calm, relaxed day, driving down the road, no time in front of us, and somebody does that shit to us, oh my God, this guy's driving like an idiot. In your minds, you could justify it how you needed to and how you wanted to, but in their minds, they're justifying it just the same way. But there's that discrepancy in between the two, right? And having judgment of that person, that guy's driving like an idiot, but it's okay for me when I drive like an idiot because I have important things to do, right? Like, come on, guys, like that doesn't play that way, right? So, the reality of the situation, like, discovery is better than judgment. For me, discovery, I use curiosity, right? Being curious, being inquisitive, going, I wonder why, right? Changes your attitude. Being like, that happened because, or I wonder why that happened. Very, very different emotional states, very different neuroelectrical patterns in the brain, very different hormonal patterns through the endorphin system, whole different experience on life. So exchange that judgment for discovery, for curiosity, for inquisitiveness. He dropped a vocab word for us, an abbreviation. VUCA. I had heard it before. I completely forgot my mind, flipped out of there. So I wrote it down again. Came after post-Cold War, expressing volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity that comes in patterns of change, right? Where administrations fall, come back to new, family situations change, parents split up. There's going to be volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And it's a great little anagram to keep in the forefront of your mind when going into challenging situations and saying, awesome, cool. How is this volatile? Why is it volatile? What can I do to expect more volatility? How can I quiet the volatility? What is the uncertainty? How can I bring certainty? And going through those questions, knowing that these are the variables, the dials that are being changed in that atmosphere that's going on. And then this part, I made this entire video just for this last 7 questions. I thought the first part would be like 3 minutes. Obviously, Kyle got me pumped up, and I wanted to share this with you guys. So this part is awesome. I made a declaration to myself, and I've already planned it with my team, that every 4 to 6 weeks, ideally every month, on one of like the first Saturdays, Sundays, I'm going to find myself a getaway, like a little cabin, a cottage, and spend some time doing some personal reflections on my growth plan, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, relationship-wise, all the different areas of my life, and spend a day alone and go over and reflect who I am, where I want to go, and what do I need to do to get there. The questions that Kyle brought to us are going to be a crucial part of this. He's not the first person to come up with these questions. These are questions that we've all asked. The question is, how often are you asking them? And with how much clarity and certainty are you giving your answers, right? So making the point and the time to go through these questions, not just have these questions be aspects of life, but have your life be a result of asking these questions. So for me, these 7 questions, takeaways, write this down. Am I living the life that I want? Authenticity check. Am I living the life that I want right now? Are things going the way that I want them to? And if not, why not? And if so, where are they? Like, cool. Here's all the great things. Here's 1 or 2 things that maybe I need to work on, focus on this area. Right? Do I show gratitude to those I love? This is a huge one, right? An attitude of gratitude is the antidote to all ills. I preach that all the time. You guys know that inside and out. But do you show gratitude to those that you love? Question being, like, one, like, are you actually paying attention to the people you love? Are you looking around and saying, I love this person, I love that person, and the growth and the abundance of people around you? And are you actually being grateful to them? I had a conversation just yesterday again as well with somebody, maybe it was 2 days ago, with being a giver and a receiver, like, and how hard it is for some people like myself to actually ask for help, to allow people to help us. I think it has something to do with being raised as an only child and being very self responsible and resourceful. But for me, like, it was a major lesson for me for quite a few periods of my life, coming back over and over and over again. Sorry, his phone just rang in the back. Just totally just threw me out of my line. Yeah, can I actually accept people's help? Can I actually ask people for help? Is it a sign of weakness? No, it's a sign of, like, authenticity and actually being honest with yourself and saying, like, hey, cool. Yeah, you got 99%. You need somebody else's 1% to get you over that edge, right? And there's a point in everybody's life where you got to go, like, shit, I can't do this alone, right? Like, and you look at it like, you can't. Like, did you make your clothes? Did you make your cell phone? Did you write the computers that programmed your cell phone? Did you build your car? Did you grow the rubber trees to make the rubbers for the tires on your car? Like, no, you can't do half the crap that goes on in your life by yourself. So we are integrated with other people. How many people are around us is a major thing that are helping us constantly. So being able to accept help or ask for help, super, super crucial, right? But also showing gratitude. Are you actually thanking the people around you authentically for doing what they're doing? We're just like, yeah, good job. Awesome. Cool. I'm going to write that in your report for this quarter. Yep. First quarter report. He did a good job, man. Or are you actually like, dude, you know what, man? Like, the way you showed up the other day, like, it really inspired the group. It really helped me to be a good leader. You did this, you did that. It was awesome. I took notice how much time and effort you put into it. Like, are you actually coming from a place of authenticity and actually letting that person expressing your feelings to that person so that they can feel them fully and fully, right? For me, a great lesson in this too. Like, I've been recently trying to say you're welcome to people, like, just like with full intention in my heart, like have a moment where someone's like, "Hey, dude, Ryder, like, thank you." I'm like, "Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure, really." Right? Rather than be like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it," and taking away from their ability to express gratitude. I want to fully reciprocate to them, right? I want to allow them to have that good emotion that they're showing to me, come back to them and simply, like, locking eyes and be like, oh man, you're welcome. Thank you. No, absolutely, you're welcome. It makes a huge difference. That moment, that energy, man, it's sharp. I love it. Um, am I taking care of myself, right? Like, are you doing the things that you need to do to be an optimal performance? Right? Very often, like, oh man, I got so much stuff coming up the next 3 days. Like, I just need to focus on that. Like, bullshit. Your brain, your body, your existence is like a sponge. It needs to be wrung dry and filled up, wrung dry and filled up. A sponge left in the water does not hold more water, and a sponge left out to dry does not get more water in immediately. You got to put it in. It takes a second, right? Like, sponges work best if you wring them out and flush them, wring them, flush them, wring them, full them, right? So, you know, are you taking care of yourself in life? Are you sleeping enough? Are you meditating enough? I have my 7 steps to human optimization in my book coming out. So, like, check into these things. The first step in that is regulating your neurological system, right? Are you getting yourself out of that response state, that sympathetic fight, flight, freeze, like, oh, I need to be responsible time? And are you tuning down? It's that parasympathetic state of rest, digest, and heal. Are you giving yourself the time and the love and the respect to go, I'm going to eat lunch today and not work through it because this nutrition is important to me, right? Balancing that neurological system, balancing your mental, emotional system next, balancing your nutrition after that, your exercise and movement patterns after that, following the hierarchy all the way up to fulfillment, right? So are you taking care of yourself? Where is God in your life? Now, it doesn't have to be a God or particular religion, but where is a larger sense of self? Where is a sense of spirituality? Where is a sense of recourse, of phenomena, of knowledge, of mathematical balances? Could just be the universe, but where is that sense of, like, oh, that you are something, a small part of something that is bigger than you, and you are a big part made of many small things comprising you, right? Where is God in your life? Who do I need to forgive? Right? Like, how much baggage are you carrying around with? This person did that, or this person said this, and they probably weren't even paying attention, didn't even realize that you're bothered by it. and you've been carrying on for like 10 years, like, oh my God, in high school, this girl treated me this way and this happened and that happened. Dude, it's like 20 years later and you're still carrying that shit. Like, drop that. Get rid of it. They don't even realize that you're bothered by it and yet you're allowing them for years later to continue to bother you. Like, drop that shit, let it go, right? Who do you need to forgive? Hey man, thank you. And forgiving elegantly, right? Like that elegant way of forgiving, like, hey, you know what? Like, you put me through some shit, but because of that shit, right, I'm going to effectively blame you and say, like, that shit made me a better person. Because of that, I gained self-control, I gained self-respect, I gained resiliency, whatever it might be. But taking that negative aspect that they threw at you and turning it into a positive aspect of, hey, man, you know what? Like, I came out better because of it. I'm not going to say what you did was right, but I want to thank you. And I want to forgive you and thank you for allowing me to have the experience to grow because I became better of it. And you made me a better person. That's some power, right? That's powerful, powerful alchemy. Next to last, who do I need to make amends with, right? Like, who do you need to go up to? Like, dude, I did something. You may or may not know, but I did some dirty things, and you should know about it, right? Because that weight of that emotion on your soul, on your spirit, on your conscience, on your mind, whichever word you choose to use, is going to have an effect, right? We're in COVID times right now, and I said at the very beginning, like, not to lessen the effect of the virus and the sickness that comes and the potential death that comes from it, but like to look at things from a position of where they really are right now. And it's been shown through study after study that increased cortisol levels can decrease your immune system by a minimum of 40%, maximum way higher, right? So like, think about that. Cortisol comes from fear. By being in a fearful state, afraid that you might get sick, you're increasing your likelihood of getting sick by 40%. That's like almost double the possibility, right? Like, so carrying stuff with you, emotions, fear, baggage, those things weigh you down. They tie you down. They have a neurological and neuroendocrine response where your brain chemistry, your neurotransmitters, your nerves in your body are going to send and receive different messages. Your brain is going to comprehend that differently. Your endocrine system is going to pump out different hormones, going to make your body respond differently, all based on what things you're carrying around with you, right? So I've talked about anchors and I've talked about parachutes. Drop them both. Drop the parachutes first. Parachutes can blow you backwards and make you lose ground. Anchors just hold you in place, but neither one of them allow you to progress very well. Last but not least, where do I need to forgive my own self? Man, first thing that came to mind on this one is the Hawaiian Oponopono prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. If you ever forget it, it's on the inside of my arm right here. I have it tattooed in big letters. So it stays right next to my heart as well. But great technique to just quiet your mind, put your hands over your heart, allow your brain and your heart to sync up, breathe into your heart, feel that heartbeat, have some appreciation and gratuity that heart was beating before you were even born, before you even had a brain. That heart started pumping fluid through all your cells. Before there was a nerve in your body, that heart started pumping, right? That heart is the truest essence of yourself. It knows who you are from before your brain knew who you were, right? And come to touch with that heart. And I love to go to myself and just say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the key thing is the magic isn't in the words. There is some magic in the words with the sounds, the vibrations. We can go into science of that as well. However, the real magic is in the emotions from the words. The visceral feeling you have that play between your brain and your glands, your nerves and your hormones that allows you to experience life on a daily basis, right? Where do you need to forgive yourself? Because without forgiving yourself, you're never going to be able to be authentic with yourself. You're never going to be able to be courageous with yourself, and you're never going to be able to live the life that you want. So, Kyle, dude, thank you so much. I hope you get a chance to check this out. I hope I did you service and justice by representing your work correctly. And those of you out there watching, please leave me some comments below if you would. Give me your feedback on these and how you might use them, how they might affect you in your life, what things you've been using from these lists that you're already incorporating, and where you might actually see things growing if you were to incorporate some of these ideas. So, like always, my friends, be well and live life fully.